Learned with great difficulty up at
Oh, I can imagine. All the time.
committee meetings. Yeah. I've heard some of it's first thing you tell.
Yes. All right, good morning. I would like to call to order this meeting of your Fremont County Board of Commissioners and invite you all to rise for an invocation with Joe Garkovich this morning with Mercy Today Ministries. Good morning, Joe.
Let us pray. O Holy One, we thank you for this day, another day in which to serve you. As we gather in this room to do this important work, I pray for this group of people, and I pray that you would grant them courage and compassion and wisdom to make the best decisions for all involved. And I also lift up in prayer all of our county employees, and I ask that you would watch over them and guide them in all that they do and in all that they say. It's in Christ's name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Followed by the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Joe. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Simpleman.
Present.
Approval of today's agenda. I have no items to change.
Nor do I, Madam Chair, move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
In today's consent agenda, I do like to note we are not scheduling a public hearing for any time in the future.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's consent agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We have no staff reports this morning under administrative and informational topics, but I'll bet we have a few county commissioner reports. So I think I'll turn first to Commissioner McFall. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks. So we've been talking over the last few meetings about the accountability report from last year and kind of given information on some of the specific departments. And today I brought some information on the Department of Transportation. First of all, I want to give the Department of Transportation a lot of kudos. Those guys work really hard all the time, sometimes short-staffed. Just for example, this last weekend, they had a road washout at Copper Gulch. They got one lane open so traffic could continue. Started yesterday on the other lane to get that road built back up and then have to fix the creek so it doesn't wash it out again. But they're constantly doing that plus their regular maintenance jobs. There's a lot of other emergency stuff that they help with too, which is like the WPA, the big ditch that goes through Canyon City towards the river from North Canyon. It's the responsibility to keep that clean where the water flows when we do get rain, and thank God we've been getting rain lately, so it's kind of good. But drainage operations all over the county so that there's safe passages and the roadways and the drainages don't plug those up. They assist in emergencies and with signing whenever needed. They always help out at Pathfinder Park, well, all of the parks actually, all the Fremont County parks, from the west end to the Pathfinder Park. And then all the regular maintenance is needed at the airport and all over the county. They do a lot of chip sealing and asphalt projects, and they have to budget those by the year, and as everybody knows, the prices keep getting higher on those, so it seems like it gets shorter pieces, but they did some chip seal. This is in 2021 now on County Road 27A and 28. They did asphalt projects on County Road 119, 138, 142, 143A, and on North Orchard. And then they're continually trying to keep other roads either chip sealed again or new ones chip sealing at times. The gravel roads, several they have to add gravel to because of the wear from the traffic volumes, plus the dust suppressant and grading of those roads to keep them in good shape. They also installed a couple of cattle guards last year and then culverts that needed to be replaced because of wear and tear. Maybe they got tore up. One thing to note is the gallons of water that they use, it's really hard to maintain dirt roads without water. And last year we didn't get much moisture, so they had to use a lot of water. And they pull that water either out of the Arkansas River on the west end or out of Beaver Creek, Badger Creek. There's several different places they can pull it, which water's all mitigated and paid for legally, so it's not like we're just pumping water out of the river. But they put that water on the roads ahead of the graders, and it helps those roads stay together a little bit better. They do dry out quick. It's a little easier this year with the moisture we've been getting, but millions of gallons of water go on those roads. And I think one of the coolest things to mention here is they have gone 1,925 days without time lost due to an injury. So that says a lot about our road crews. They do a great job. They work safe. They work in teams. They work well. And also at the county shop, they're in charge of our fleet, which is all the sheriff vehicles, all the county vehicles, plus the DOT equipment. So they do a great job. I want to give them a big shout out to the whole crew at Department of Transportation and thank them for the job that they do for the county and the county folks. Thank you.
Absolutely, all right, and I agree with that. That's longer than 6 years that department has gone without a lost time accident, and that's a very long time for doing that kind of work. Did you have anything else this morning you'd like to mention?
We are still under stage 1 fire restrictions. We have been getting a lot of moisture. Again, it is up to the sheriff to ask us to come out of that if he would like. He has not yet, but still be diligent out there. There are some dry spots. The trees are still dry even though we're getting moisture, but just be careful and be safe.
All right.
Thanks.
I would like to speak briefly this morning about our American Rescue Plan Act funds that we have here in Fremont County. So if we could get that slide up. Okay, here we go. So Fremont County received almost $3 million, $9,292,165 in American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA funding. We have elected to declare that full amount as lost revenue, and what that means is up to $10 million is eligible to be used for governmental services under the Treasury's final rule. So the CARES Act funding was a little bit different. It had to be used for COVID-related things in many different areas, but this can be used for anything since our total amount was under that $10 million threshold. So far, we have awarded or allotted just a hair over $3 million. We are really, really proud of the things that we have been doing here in Fremont County for American Rescue Plans Act. And we wanted to tell you a little bit about what we are doing. So over $500,000, $578,677, has been awarded through our financial recovery grant and entity expense reimbursement grant. These grants were open to small businesses, schools, religious organizations, and nonprofit entities. So I've actually had conversations with a couple of folks. We all had the opportunity to literally take a check and hand carry it to someone who had received one. And they're so gracious and so grateful for the funding that the county is able to give them. I've had folks, especially in restaurants here in Fremont County, tell me literally, without this check, I can't make payroll this week. Without this check, my doors would have closed 2 weeks ago. And I just want to let you know it really is making a difference, and we want to be accountable, and we want to let you know those things. We also have invested $1.6 million already in special districts here in Fremont County and in community nonprofits. So those are some of the fire district spends that we have decided to do. We've given a lot of money to many of our fire districts here. We've got, I think, one more that we need to be considering, but also a lot of other projects and things happening with the recreation district. We helped fund a huge project for them, and the sanitation district as well. So in CARES Act funding a couple of years ago, special districts actually were awarded their own funding. That didn't happen this time with ARPA funds, and we felt an imperative to share this windfall that is intended to help the entire nation recover from COVID. We felt it imperative that we share our funding with all of them. We also have spent almost $725,000 in Fremont County departments for different purchases for things. It's not a free-for-all, but we got some really great requests from some of our other elected officials and our departments too. So we've decided to fund some of those. We also spent money to purchase some playground equipment for the Howard Playground, and you can see that picture right there. That's what we put up in Howard. There are a lot of kids who use that playground. We still have almost $6.3 million remaining in that fund that needs to be committed, not spent, but committed by the end of 2024. We're still making decisions on that. One of the main things that we're looking at doing as we move into the future is spending some money on broadband here in Fremont County. So we will soon have, if it hasn't quite gone out already, we soon will have a request for proposals going out, asking folks to help us figure out what we actually have here in Fremont County as far as broadband is concerned, where we have it in plenty and where we definitely are needy. And we also hope to create a list of prioritized projects with that. And so then we'll be able to figure out what we need to do with that. And we have many other places that we could spend that money, but we've talked about broadband for many, many years and think that that's a very worthy cause and a great place to spend some of this money. So, gentlemen, did you have anything you'd like to add to that report?
Yes, ma'am. Some great stuff there. Talk about the stuff we're doing with ARPA money and our departments. Thank my colleagues for bringing those things up. And I hate to be the wet blanket on the good news that my colleagues got to talk about those things. But something's been weighing on my mind, and I would like to address a couple things. There's not a lot of folks in the audience here, but there are millions of people watching online at the moment, so be speaking mostly to them. But you know, there's an old saying that may he live in interesting times. It's usually a backhanded way of wishing someone ill, that they live in interesting times. And I'm afraid that we do live in interesting times right now, so somebody may have wished that upon us. I just want to, I try to refrain from addressing things like this in commissioner meetings, but sometimes when you're given the pulpit to talk about things, you have to talk about things. And here we are. What happened yesterday in Florida was probably one of the most reprehensible things I've seen in a long time. The invasion of the residence of a citizen, let alone the former president, whether or not you think highly of him or you hate him. What happened yesterday should worry every citizen of the United States deeply. This is nothing short of jackbooted thuggery, what happened. This is police state crap that every citizen of the United States should be immensely worried about. We are witness to, I think this is a turning point, what happened yesterday in our country, and we need to wake up to what's going on. It was not that long ago that the Department of Justice in this country labeled parents as domestic terrorists for standing up for their kids in their schools. And if they're willing to go into the house of the President of the United States, former, loved, or hated, what will they not stoop to with normal citizens in these United States? And they're adding 87,000 IRS agents. Why do they need 87,000 more IRS agents? Why are we arming non-law enforcement agencies at the federal level, like the IRS and other agencies? We're witnessing the growth of the police state here in this country, the militarization of federal agencies who are not tasked with law enforcement. We live in scary times, and if someone out there listening, if there's anybody out there listening, cheered what happened yesterday, you are cheering on the police state that we have fought in this country fought against for 246 years. And here it is on our doorstep. And we should be warned by what we watch on the news, especially over the last 24 hours. And I think this should be a wake-up call to every citizen of Fremont County, of Colorado, of the United States. Things changed yesterday, and we need to recognize it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Grantham. And I will not belabor the point other than to say, yes, absolutely.
Well said.
Yeah,
I
well said.
find it interesting, Commissioner Grantham, yesterday, also Nancy Pelosi, who came back from Taiwan, I think it was. So she was in Taiwan to help them maintain their democracy, their freedoms, and then come back here and do the opposite.
Right.
So you're right, it is scary times.
The very definition of ironic, right there.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on our agenda, citizens who wish to address the commissioners on a matter not scheduled on today's agenda. We have one signed up. Mr. John Hamrick, would you step to the podium, please? Identify yourself, sir. And let us know what's on your mind.
Thank you very much. My name's John Hamrick. I live at 108 Dewey Road. And Commissioner Grantham, I would not say they're at our doorstep. They're in our living room is the problem. And I also have more information in that not so great vein. But the school district has a proposed transgender policy. And last night they held a school board meeting where they accepted public comment on the policy. It's probably missed the deadline for the papers to be in today's paper, but will probably be in tomorrow's paper. But there were about 100 people at the district office. There were about 150 people at the overflow location at the middle school. And approximately 50 people spoke, 3 minutes each. So it was a little bit of a long evening. But the proposed, this is information. The proposed policy creates a right for private communication between students and staff with no parental involvement. The proposed policy creates a right for transgender students to use the restroom or locker room of their choice. And the proposed policy creates a right for a transgender student or any student to participate in physical education classes, intramural and interscholastic sports based on their gender choice. And I just wanted to say there is more information at FremontCountySchools.com. This is just an informational blurb for y'all.
Thanks, John.
Thank you so much, John. We appreciate your always being attentive to community events and surroundings and what's going on. Is there anyone else today who would like to step forward and speak before this board? Seeing none, we'll move on. We have no old business for consideration today. We have a couple of items of new business. First of all, we have with us Heather Evans, the Executive Director of the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments. Heather has for us the approval of a new loan committee member for the Upper Arkansas Area Development Corporation Loan Committee. Good morning, Heather. If you'd like to step forth and tell us what this is and who we're looking at appointing.
Good morning. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yes.
So my name's Heather, and I'm the Executive Director of UACOG, the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments. One of our programs is a direct loan and gap loan program. So, you know, if there's a small business in the area, they go to a bank, they try to get a loan, and they're turned down, or they're approved for a partial amount of the funds that they ask for, they can come to us and ask for a loan. As part of that, through our Upper Arkansas Area Development Corporation, we have a loan committee. When I stepped into my new role, I've been here for 6 months, yay! I read our bylaws and discovered that any new loan committee members must be approved by the county. Our loan committee was pretty small, and so I've been working on beefing it up. And so our primary member currently for our loan committee is Ryan Stevens. He's been serving in that capacity for some time. I asked for recommendations from the loan committee members and from other folks in the area, and someone was proposed, and his name is David Reynolds. He's the owner of the Royal Gorge Dinosaur Experience. He's actually already on the loan committee for FEDC, and so I'm just requesting for approval for him to join our loan committee as the alternate.
All right, thank you so much for that explanation. I think we all know David Reynolds, and I would be the first to jump in and say he would make a fine addition to any organization that he chose to join. So congratulations on getting him there and working with this group. Gentlemen, questions?
Question.
Comments?
Motion. If you're ready.
I am.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the appointment of David Reynolds for alternate for the Loan Committee of the Upper Arkansas Area Development Corporation Loan Committee.
Second.
And this is for an alternate member?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It has been moved and seconded to appoint David Reynolds as an alternate loan committee member for the Upper Arkansas Area Development Corporation Loan Committee as recommended by Heather Evans, the Executive Director of UACOG. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right.
Thanks, Heather.
Thanks so much for being here. We turn next to a resolution authorizing tastings for retail liquor stores and liquor licensed drugstores pursuant to Section 44-3-301-10 CRS. And we're going to turn this morning to our County Attorney, Miss Brenda Jackson, for an explanation. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning.
Morning.
In the Liquor Code, which is Title 44 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, retail liquor stores and liquor licensed drug stores are permitted to conduct tastings, so samples basically of spirits or malt liquors or Venice beverages. And they have to give it away for free to their patrons so that they can taste it and determine if they want to buy it. There's some regulations that, some requirements that go with that. And the only eligible entities are retail stores, retail liquor stores, and liquor licensed drug stores. So this can be tastings can be conducted only if the local licensing authority, excuse me, which is the Board of County Commissioners, adopts a resolution and puts in place requirements for these tastings to occur. The clerk's office that manages all the liquor license has had a request from a retail liquor store that would like to conduct tastings, and the county does not have a resolution in place. So this resolution puts in place local authority to those licensed establishments to conduct tastings if they so choose. The liquor license clerk, Talia Smith, has put together a little control plan form for them to fill out to kind of guide them through the considerations that they have to present to the board. There's an application that's been prepared, and this resolution pulls it all together and allows these licensed establishments to apply for tasting permit if they so choose. This is solely regulated and enforced at the local level. The state doesn't really have any involvement in the tasting part of it, although they do have a say in the overriding liquor license. So there's a lot of details. If you have any questions, I can answer them, but it's basically giving local authority for these establishments to conduct tastings.
So I have no questions. We all had the opportunity to look through the information, through the resolution, make any changes that we were seeking at the time. I think it looks really good. And I just would like to say I think this is one more way that the county is choosing to work with local businesses. So thank you to the business who brought this forth and to Talia in our county clerk's liquor licensing office for bringing this forward to us. Gentlemen, questions, concerns?
I have a question, Madam Chair. It looks like we need to decide a fee for the application.
The proposed fee is, and recommended fee is $100,
Thanks.
and that's an annual fee.
I am prepared for a motion.
Okay, just a quick comment, and I'll make that motion.
Absolutely.
This is, I want to say exciting. I guess this is kind of exciting, being able to move forward on something like this. Colorado is well known for many things, including its craft beer industry. A former governor of ours is very highly involved in that, and obviously locally we're very familiar with our wine industry here in Colorado. It's something that is very much an activity across the entire state. But there's also an interesting industry when it comes to the other aspects of the liquor industry, whether it's whiskeys or rums, and I think there's even some in-state vodka distillers. And all of these things, it's a growing part of the landscape of Colorado, and it's exciting that Fremont County will be part of that growing industry with this kind of format that they're able to come in and show off their wares and show off their products. And so excited to be part of that with this resolution. So, Madam Chair, I move resolution number 26, which would authorize tastings for retail liquor stores and liquor licensed drug stores pursuant to section 44-3-30110, the CRS. And do we need to put the fee in that motion?
Yes.
With approving the recommended fee of $100.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 26, authorizing tastings for retail liquor stores and liquor licensed drug stores, including an application fee of $100 annually. Further discussion?
One comment, this is for unincorporated Fremont County. I would assume that Canyon City and Florence have their own regulations that a liquor store would need to go through, but this is unincorporated Fremont County.
Good note, as everything we do is for unincorporated Fremont County, but I know there are folks who tend to get confused a little bit about that. So, all right, motion second. I think we're ready for roll call.
Commissioner Grantham?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We do have two separate public hearings scheduled to begin at 10 a.m., which is 4 minutes from now. So the chair will take a brief recess until then. Did a good job. All right, the hour has reached 10 a.m., so we will come back to order. The first public hearing we have scheduled for this morning is a special review use, number 21-005, for the Observer Ranch Campground. This is requesting approval of a special review use permit for a travel trailer campground and learning center located at 4509 County Road 123. And we have with us this morning Derek True as a representative who is going to kick things off. So Derek, if you would come forth, turn on the microphone there by pushing that little button right in the front middle, and let us know what's going on.
Ms. Chair, board members, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Morning. Thought maybe you had some specific questions for me. We're going to have our representative Keith Moore do the opening presentation for you guys this morning. So,
All right, let's start with that.
Thank you.
And we probably will have some questions as we go along. Good morning.
Good morning. Keith Moore, architect with RMG Architects and Engineers in Colorado Springs. You guys have been looking at this project for a little bit, and we have gone through the board and got a list of contingencies, items that were passed and made in resolution on that, and for our items and what we wanted to address with you guys this
And
morning.
Mr. Moore, when you say they were approved, do you mean by the Planning Commission?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, uh-huh. So that these contingencies would be in place, and we've to date have already done 8 of the 10, and that was updated and provided in the latest package that went in yesterday for review. So the one item, item 5, was completed, with the exception of we do still show an electrical transformer sitting in the new revised floodplain path. So that may still be a contingent item that we can look at relocating or mitigating that in effect. Our new fire protection plan has been approved by the chief, so that's been uploaded and updated. And then item 9, the applicant to verify the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. We haven't drilled our wells yet. We will have to abide by all of those requirements, so we just haven't got to that point yet in the development. So other than that, I would open it up for any questions that you folks would have of us.
Before we begin with a series of questions, can you talk about the project? Tell us what the plan is. This is information largely for the public.
Sure.
We do have all of the information in front of us, but we find it helpful to let the public know what the plan is, what you're looking at doing, a time frame for, I know that you have various stages of construction. So if you can just give us some of that
Sure, I'll give you
information, please.
the quick overview. We have 2 lots, lots 1 and 2 we refer to them as, and it equates to 76.33 acres in total. The first phase will be on the lot 1. The lower part will be to develop the 33 RV sites along with the, what we call the clubhouse or the support building that houses the office, our learning center, and everything. That'll be the phase 1. As you move up into the property, then the cabin sites will be developed and the individual RV sites will be developed, and then it develops on into lot 2 on the upper part of the property into less dense lots up there where we have only one permanent structure, which will be a kind of a storm shelter on that part of the property. There will be on the mid-upper left-hand side some RV storage spaces that will be screened, and those are just for on-site. They're not for public use, so you can't come there and store your RV and pay a monthly fee. They're just for on-site storage.
So I want to stop you right there. I have a question about that.
Yes, sir.
So who's the storage for then?
People that want to have a place there on a ongoing basis, but they don't want to hold their travel trailer back to Colorado Springs or Denver or something like that.
Because that's confusing me throughout the application. It's talking about not open to the public, but yet there's 34 camp spaces, so who the heck can go there?
Yeah.
It's I don't understand it.
Yeah, so that's the reasoning for that. Kind of like you have a boat storage, if you, for your boat down in Pueblo Reservoir, you don't want to haul it back, so you're just going to store it there locally.
So
that's
they would store it there, and then when they come down, move it to a camp spot?
Correct, yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So that's, and the phasing is going to basically start from the road and work back through the property. We have 2 wells that we have to drill, 1 on each lot, so those have to be done. That'll be obviously part of phase 1, and some cisterns built that will house our fire protection. We do have 2 dry fire hydrants required by the chief. One will be near the large operations building, and the other will be up on the C lots on the north end of the lower lot 1. So, and those are just going to be dry hydrants supplemented by cistern water. So, there will be full-time employees that'll staff it year-round, but these employees will only live there. 1 employee only live there 3 months at a time, so it'll be a rotating basis, so we don't have any permanent residents on the site. And then up to, during peak time, summertime, we'll have up to like 6 employees running programs, operating the office, maintenance around the facilities. So we have 2 pump houses.
So let me ask you a question again.
Yes, sir.
So you just said year-round. The staff report says year-round. Somewhere in the application I read that it was May through September.
It was originally going to be just a springtime, but they're thinking that it's going to be an all-around application given the weather that we have down here. So,
Okay.
Yep. And then we have maintenance building, and then all of our waste is housed within a building, so it's not out in the public. So we don't have to contend with animals and things unsightly on that. So there are numerous programs slated for this, kind of as that's the learning center part of it. So we'll be doing, 3 to 4 times a week. We might have mostly on the weekends, but you have, a class going on for kids or an observatory class, and have locals and visiting professors come in and give a class. But that's just for the occupants of the facility, not going to be like a public thing. Hey, come in, we'll have, 500 people coming from off-site. Okay?
So, all right, okay, that answered that question. I do have that same question though. So if I'm driving down Highway 50 and I see a campground over there and I want to pull around and park in there, I can't do that with my camper?
You can pull in and see if there's a vacancy. As long as there's a vacancy, yes.
So it is open to the public,
Right, but
but it's not open to the public.
it's open to the public, but it's not, the programs are not open to the public. You have to be a resident of the
Okay.
campground to
Okay.
attend those, okay?
I have a couple of notes here also. The application says open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., but I would assume that's office hours?
Correct.
So if you have people staying there, it seems to me like the hours for this operation should be 24/7.
Well, the program hours, I think, was the question we were answering in that statement. But yeah, I mean, obviously, people will be staying there 24/7. And there may be some programs, like a night observatory program, that obviously will be happening like that. So, we need to revise that statement that it's a 24-hour operation. The intent was that the programs are basically running, and the office is open from 9 to 7.
Okay. Also, you talk about a dry lake that's there that you're hoping to bring in water and turn into an actual lake. Could you talk about that a little bit? Also, I saw a term there that says lake enhancement. So I would like to know what your plan is for that lake, the long-term plan. What are you looking at doing?
The long-term plan on that is to, if the water rights are available, which is the thing that's in process, to find out that it was a pond, was it built legally, all of that, do we have water rights to be able to refill that pond? It hasn't been filled for some time, to our understanding. And so it's an already existing on-site feature, so we'd like to enhance it and bring it back to life if that's feasible with the water rights of the land. So that's what we're investigating.
So enhancing it, filling it with water, landscaping?
Native landscaping and just, probably a walking trail around it would be the beginning enhancements. It's not like you're going to put a dock in it or anything like that. It's not that big of a lake. It's, pond size, but that.
Available for swimming, kayaking, rafting, any of those
You
things?
know, we don't know that it's the depth of it and if it's available for, you know, that purpose. But obviously, if we can get the water in it and it's, you know, the acreage on it, it's not big enough for a boat. You might be able to paddleboard or kayak on it, but, you know.
Okay.
Okay? And it's probably a seasonal thing, given our weather down here, even with the big rains we just had down here. You know, we didn't see any water in it, so.
It's been dry for a long time.
Yes, correct.
All right. Anything at this point? Anything else at this point? Okay, we're going to turn next for a staff report, so we will turn to Planning and Zoning Director Micah Simpleman. Good morning, Micah.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to address the referral agency's comments first. Fremont County Department of Transportation, they came back stating there was a big change of the impact going from a 26-a-day trip up to a 125-a-day trip in the application. The fire protection plan, they mentioned a paved access that is 32 feet wide, so that there should be no issues with the access when it is constructed. As a department, we would like to have the opportunity to comment at the annual reviews. Fremont County Project Engineer, they have reviewed the items provided by the county for the following comments. The draft stormwater drainage analyst report only covers the initial phase of the project in Lot 1. The drainage report should be expanded to include the area of development, including the SRU project. Additionally, the drainage report should address surface flooding from 8 Mile Creek. The Zone A flood plan boundary of 8 Mile Creek is presently on the submitted documentation, does not appear to accurately reflect the national flood hazard layer data that is available from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Hydraulic and analysis of 8 Mile Creek may be necessary to adequately show the limits of the flooding from 8 Mile Creek. It appears that items such as roadway, on-site water, wastewater treatment system, and electric transmitters may be located within the 8 Mile Creek floodplain. Additionally, analysts should be complete with the confirm of these elements are located outside the floodplain or are reasonably safe from the flood drainage. Note drainage related, but we would notice that several turning radius and a lack of turnarounds may be problematic at the large RV fifth wheel type vehicles. This is particularly notable in the Robitaille Road. Based on the review, we recommend that the above comments be addressed prior to the SRU approval. And then from the Fremont County Department of Public Health and Environment, the Fremont County Department of Health and Environment has reviewed the submittal information of Observer Ranch Campground under required submittal attachments, Section 3, Item Number 4, sanitation documentation. The application is proposed to use an office, manager, apartment, and support building. The building appears to contain all the necessary sanitation facilities that will be required for the operation of this travel trailer park and campground. Although these submittal drawings are just conceptual and not detailed drawings, they appear to be in the compliance of the Fremont County OWTS regulations. The department has the opportunity to review the revised engineer OWTS design of the Observer Ranch Campground. After our review of the submittal document, Fremont County Environmental Health Department finds that the separation distance between the OWTS appears to be adequate. Other findings may need to be addressed at the time of their application. As for planning and zoning, we do recommend approval of this SRU special review use permit application. Prior to the special reviews permit recording, the applicant shall have the application, I'm sorry, where did I lose my, revise the site, photomatic site plan to include solar bollards on the walkway to the open space, dog run off of Wabatelli Road, and the walkways to recreational area 1 to provide safe access to the recreational amenities. Submit a stormwater drainage analysis and drainage report and plan that includes all areas of the development. Accurately depict Zone A flooding boundaries for 8 Mile Creek on the SRU site plan. If required by the Fremont County engineer, the applicant shall perform a hydraulic analysis for 8 Mile Creek to adequately show the limits of flooding from 8 Mile Creek. Complete additional analysis to confirm roadways, on-site wastewater treatment systems, and electronic transformers that are not located within the 8 Mile floodplain. All Fremont County Department of Transportation comments and conditions stemming from the annual review of the special review use permit shall be addressed to the department's satisfaction. Revise turning radii and provide adequate turnarounds to accommodate large RV and fifth wheel type vehicles throughout the SRU site plan, and revise the fire protection plan to include the fire protection plan and verbal agreement made by the Florence Fire Protection District. Having found that the increased traffic generated from the commercial compound and project is substantial and ensures proper drainage, staff does not support granting the waiver from the parking space surfacing. That should be it.
Okay. That's a lot. Did I officially open the public hearing?
No.
Okay. At this time, we are going to afford the opportunity for anyone in the public who would like to speak to stand and do so. So let's open the public hearing portion of this meeting. Is there anyone in the public who would like to step forward and to give an opinion about this application? All right, seeing none, we will. Okay, well, all right. Yes.
I'll do it.
Someone has to be first. So when you're finished, if you would fill out one of those slips and
Sure.
turn it into Talia up here, that'd be great. Thank you.
Awesome. Hi. I think like a lot of people.
If you could introduce yourself.
Oh, hi. I'm Rachel Cronin, and I live here in Colorado. And I have been following the development of this campground and learning center since its inception. And I am one of the members of the community that is so excited to see this coming. I feel like it's going to be a huge asset and something that I feel like myself, I have 2 little boys, and my family would love to come and enjoy and learn more about the stars, learn more about all the things that they are passionate about and what they want to bring to the community. And so I'm here from the community in full support of this. And I really can't wait to see the last of the hoops jumped through and see this manifest in our community, because I feel like this is something that I've been looking forward to, and along with my kids and my husband.
So do I understand you live in Colorado but not in Fremont County?
I live in Colorado Springs,
Okay.
just a little bit north.
Not too far.
Not too far.
All right.
It was a lovely drive down here, actually.
It is a beautiful drive, right?
Yeah.
So I have to ask, you said our community 4 or 5 times. What are you referring to?
They're people like me, people that want to learn more about our world, and this is what this learning center is going to provide. I'm not the only one that wants to learn more about the stars, the sun. I feel like there's a huge market for this, at least in my network of friends, and so that's what I am defining as community.
Thanks.
All right, thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Come on up.
Hi, my name's Gary Brown, and I'm the neighbors to this, and,
I'm sorry, you're a neighbor?
yeah.
Okay.
I kind of helped them do it. Part of some of my property. I think it's a great idea. I look out at the stars at night. I don't know Mars from Jupiter, but with this, I'd have a place to go and do something. It's kind of boring out there, you know. But the stars are beautiful. I wouldn't mind to learn more. My kids come. So.
All right.
Mr. Brown, you say
I'm all for it.
you live right by there?
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Anyone else? Come on up.
I'm Lori Goebel. You guys, most of you know me.
Hi, Lori.
I am a neighbor, live right next door. I actually look forward to this development. I think it will be great for our community. As Gary said, it's kind of boring. My kids haven't been bored because they all were 4-Hers and super busy. But, you know, to keep our kids out of trouble, I think it would be a great place for them to go learn something. Fremont County does
But
not
you have to be a resident of there. You can't just go over there and do it.
Well, that's not a
What's
question for
that?
her, but that's a question for the applicant, so never mind.
Fremont County does not have a whole lot to offer in entertainment. And I think this would be a great place to go do some learning.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Anyone else? Once? Twice? All right, we're going to close the public hearing. And I actually also would like the answer to that question, Mr. Moore, that you've got neighbors talking about coming up and going to the programming that's available there, and yet you very clearly just said it would be available only to those who are currently renting space in the park. So if you have a neighbor living a quarter mile down the road, do they also have to come in their trailer and park and?
So that is correct. If you want to be a part of the educational aspects of the campground, you would need to be a client of the campground, meaning that you would then need to have a space, staying there, that sort of thing. We were going back and forth a lot of the time in the very beginning about this specific subject. I know a lot of it was based on traffic study and that sort of thing. So bottom line is you have to be a resident of the campground, if we're going to use that term, to be a part of the educational amenities that the campground is going to offer to their guests. So to answer your question specifically about a neighbor quarter mile up the road, yes, they would then need to come rent one of the cabins, rent one of the RV spaces, spend some time there, be a part of the campground environment, their way of life, that sort of thing, to be a part of those educational amenities.
Okay, and do those neighbors understand that?
I believe
Apparently
so,
you've been
yes.
talking
Yeah,
with them
we're
and
all
having
talking very general.
conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. So you do need to be a resident of the campground to associate with those educational amenities.
Okay. One note that I have, and I'm not sure if you would like to address this, or Mr. Moore, but We received a ton more information from you guys yesterday at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes.
That's not much time
Not
for us
cool.
to
No.
look through and consider, and we have a list of so many findings and considerations and recommendations. We have a waiver request that we need to consider, and we just received all of this new information yesterday.
It's not new information, and some of it is, and I apologize for yesterday. There was a lot of miscommunication between myself, planning office, and then on to you guys on what we were trying to do. We know that some of the stuff that we submitted yesterday hasn't been approved by some of the entities. We wanted to make sure you guys had that, to know that we have done the work from the previous contingencies that you were asked of us. So that's really where it came from. We did put a couple of the fire protection plan. Nothing changed off that from the last time we submitted back in October of 21. Nothing changed from that plan. We talked with fire chief yesterday. We saw one of the contingencies was to update the fire plan. We were going back and forth between our team, trying to figure out what that could even mean to update the fire plan with all the verbal agreements. So we just did some new things, stuck the same information just on a different page like we have been doing, and we submitted that just so you guys could see that we were attempting to do something off the contingencies with the very little information that we actually had. So I'm very sorry for the confusion on all those submittals yesterday. It was just to show good faith going forward that we're not just taking your contingencies and throwing them to the wayside. We are doing work on that, and we just wanted to show you that we were.
So just to let the public know, the original application is 186 pages of information that we received, not only from you, but from Planning Commission, from Planning and Zoning, from some of the other agencies that you've spoken about a couple of times. And then we received another ton of information yesterday, and so it has just been a lot. I just wanted to note that for the record.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A comment, Madam Chair, for me?
Yes.
First of all, I appreciate the neighbors for coming in, giving us your opinions too. I appreciate that a lot. It's just my opinion, but I think you're cutting yourself short by not letting their kids come over without staying there for your programs.
That was our original intention from the beginning. We got so much kickback from various entities across the board on how this is not going to work, and we're not going to approve you if you want the public to come on here, and you're going to have to do, I can't remember the term. Rural recreation. Thank you. There was rural recreation thrown out there. There was another one thrown out there too, with just a million different routes that didn't seem to have an end sight, an end goal, rather. So we chose the one that we felt that the county could handle most appropriately at the time, which was the SRU route, which then dictates a lot more stipulation on what the public has access to. And so we basically gave up our fight and said, you know what, cool, this is gonna be private. That's not what our intention was at the beginning whatsoever. We'd love to have this open to the public for education, because what the owners, and Ben and Kat Davidson are here today as well, what their intent is to provide this education to not only just the campers, but the entire community of Fremont. Now, we know that's a tough way to say, hey, come spend your money here and stay here for the night, and then you'll get the education. That's not what we wanted from the beginning, but that's unfortunately what the route that we had to take to get there. We would love if there was some, I don't know, some discussions on how we can accommodate that goal. But now we're so far into this, and this process has taken so long that we need, as a team, owners, general contractors, architects, engineers, surveyors, all of us, we need this to start moving forward just within our team. So that's why we've chosen that route, to not allow the public themselves to come and to get this education. Okay.
So the other thing I have, Madam Chair, I have a concern about phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is to be constructed in 2022 to 2025. Phase 2, possibly 2024 to 2028. We're approving something that's going to happen a couple of years from now, possibly.
I can address that as
Okay.
well. Originally, when we came to planning and zoning to give the idea of our project, we were told that we could do phase 1 first, basically, like, hey, we just need you to come up with phase 1, get that completed, and and because that's where we wanted to start. We didn't want you members to have to make a determination on whether or not you want to approve something that's potentially 5, 6, 7 years down the road. We were originally told that we just had to submit phase 1, that's what we did, and then it continued to rise from there. No, we need to see more of phase 2, we need to see more of phase 2, now we need to see all of phase 2. That's why some of those contingencies you saw, site photometric, we had did the work for phase 1 that we were told to do, and then we come back and we were like, okay, now we have to do all of phase 2, which cost a lot of money, spent a lot of time, a lot of effort trying to make everything work, because now we're jumping through hoops, rushing through these plans to get them to you guys so we can at least get started on phase 1, well knowing that phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 potentially could be 7 years down the road. So that's why you have all this information in front of you now with the timelines that you do. Our original intention was to get through phase 1 first on an approval and then continue down the SRU route with the same proceedings, you know, coming forward. We didn't want this all jumbled in once because we know it's going to take a long time to do.
Okay.
Thanks.
So, quick question on the, there's a waiver request on the
Yes, sir.
parking.
Yes, sir.
Surfacing. Is that the storage lot that we're talking about there, or is that?
No, sir, we're talking about parking in front of the support building.
Support building, okay.
Yeah, the roads are gravel. It's crusher fine layered with a class 5 base on top. And we'd like to see that throughout the parking areas. We don't want to add more concrete to the area. We are going to concrete, we are going to hard surface the handicap spots, of course, but the rest of the parking we had just asked to keep gravel. We didn't want to change the landscape overly as much, and then the you know, have a more penetrable surface for drainage. We have stormwater and drainage already set up, of course, as you've seen in the plans. However, adding to that, you know, system, we're already kind of maxed out on what we can do. So our hope is that we didn't have to pave those surfaces and just leave them gravel. We noticed in the regulation that it was just a waiver request. The Planning Commission did approve that. That waiver request to keep those areas gravel instead of.
How much space are we talking about? That
Did I see somewhere 7 parking spaces?
I think it's close to 10, 11. Yeah,
11.
I believe so.
How many handicap spots?
2, yeah. Two. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
I thought I read one, but that was 186 pages ago.
Trust me, I know.
It has changed quite a bit, right? Yeah.
So one thing I would like to address, gentlemen, is it feels as though you're feeling particularly burdened by the cumbersome application process that we have here in Fremont County. And we agree, we admit there is a lot here. We've already talked about the volume of paperwork that we have to look at. But the reality of it is, this is a massive project for Fremont County. We have to have certain information before us before we are able to make an intelligent and informed decision. We also have had, I do know and understand, some staff turnover in planning and zoning. And so we've had also someone working with us from the outside, a contractor who's been working with us to help take care of some of these things. And so I do understand that it has been quite the process for you. I would like to say just thank you for hanging in there and for continuing this, but the process is what it is. We work all the time here in Fremont County to try to align things, to make things easier, to bring them, you know, into a better scope. We are continuing to do those things and looking at some major changes in our zoning codes in the probably near future. But I just want to let you know and to let everyone know, there is a reason that we ask you all of these questions.
Absolutely.
There is a reason why you have to talk to all of these agencies and entities and to get their information, to get their input, and to get their approval for these sorts of things. And so I just wanted to kind of double back on that and to let you know, yeah, it is a big project. That means a lot of paperwork, but there's a reason for all of that.
Absolutely. Can I comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And we agree completely. We love that there's regulation standards in place that only benefits the community. We don't have to name names. We've seen other construction projects come up short in those areas, you know, saying one thing and doing another. Our team and our project has been completely transparent from the beginning in terms of trying to work through which routes these things to take. And we have no issue with going in front of every single entity 5 times if that's what it takes or that that's what the standard dictates. I think where our frustrations and our being demoralized across the board is really truly the process of trying to revamp what you guys went through when you lost the last position that was kind of in charge in that area. So we totally understood that. We're not inhuman either. We understand that people come and go, changes happen, and some of the changes are huge and they take a while to, kind of unfold. We were just part of that process, the unfolding process. So it was very frustrating because, we'd submit something and, we'd get comments back and then new comments and then new comments every time we'd submit. And it wasn't just like, hey, we need this, and we understand that sometimes changing things on a plan then constitutes other questions being asked. This was not that. It was just new curveballs after curveballs after curveballs, and we understand it was part of the process of you guys trying to get your feet back under yourselves. It was just frustrating for us to have to, go through that with you, and that's fine. It is what it is. We made it here.
We are
But
here, indeed.
when we appreciate that, and, and we just appreciate your time and all of this because we know it's a lot. We know it's not a small project. It's going to be the best campground in southern Colorado, hands down, or all of the entire state. I mean, we're very confident in that. It's going to be luxury. It's going to be high-end materials. It's going to be an awesome experience. It's going to be something that Fremont County hasn't seen, and we're ready to deliver that.
All right, thank you so much for
I have
that.
a couple of questions, if I might.
Yes.
I have 2 questions for you. One, you're going to put your OWTS systems in before you allow a trailer in there, correct?
That is absolutely correct. Absolutely. We won't allow anybody on the ground until we get proper certificate of occupancy across the board. So.
Okay, and then the second one, you have state permission for the wells, but you got to drill those wells. What is your contingency plan if you don't hit water or good water?
So to kind of speak a little bit more on the lake as well, we have rights. We have the water rights in place for that lake. It was a dry retention pond is what it was originally. We are going to lay down a substrate for that. That is going to be filled with hauled water from the city of Florence, so bought and paid for by the owners, hauled to the lake to be filled. That's going to be used for drafting. We're going to have water treatment systems on site, which we're going to know prior to if we need to do some sort of different water distribution type access if those wells don't provide water. We're very confident they are just from some of the original testing that we've done out there. And then the other well's actually next to a damaged well that was producing, I believe, up to 5-6 gallons a minute at that time before previous regulations were in place. So we're very confident we're going to have water out there, but we do have the ability to haul water. We're going to have the 2 large cisterns out there as well for water access. So whatever that route looks like, we're hoping to get the wells drilled in January, I believe is when we're slotted for it. So we're going to know at that time. But the way we're setting up the water distro, it's going to be very easy to tap into whether or not we need to do a cistern fed with water sanitation or, or the lake rather. So
Thanks.
So we have a couple different options there.
Please.
So I'm going to go backwards in the conversation here a little bit. I want to clear up my understanding on the accessibility of the campground to local traffic. Is it mainly or is it chiefly a traffic concern? Was that a restriction that was put on by somebody, or I don't understand where the restriction comes from unless it's self-imposed.
It was not self-imposed, I'll say that.
Micah may be better able to answer that.
off-site traffic versus the on-site?
What he's asking is basically why we've chosen not to allow the public to come to these specific educational.
To the educational.
It's based off of solely traffic, increased traffic, which is absolutely a factor, which is one of them.
It was a factor, but it's not
But-
the sole. and it's
exactly.
more of an following with.
Will you come
If you
talk
come
into
to
the
the
mic, please?
microphone.
Yeah,
please.
please, thank you.
Sorry, it was mostly in following with your local regs about it. This was the one that met the closest to their goal of what they wanted to achieve. If we went to, what was the other one, was a
Rural recreation.
Rural
rural rec,
recreational, yeah.
it wasn't in their scope of what they wanted to do, because then it was, it
Okay, it
was too
just-
big of a development, potentially. too
Just
big
how
of
it
a
fit into the certain.
Correct.
We had it in our original
Okay.
SRU application, that we wanted this to be open to the public for, these purposes. I can say that it was through your third-party review process that we got vetoed on that. And I have the emails that I can provide you if you'd like to see those and why they were vetoed. I just don't necessarily.
I would
feel
like
we
to.
should- Yeah, we have plenty of documentation that we can provide you on why things have happened the way they have, and we don't need to speak about that here today, but I can,
I appreciate it.
of
Thank you.
course.
Well, I'm curious about that as well. I don't know if,
That would have been Carrie.
no, but it just doesn't make sense to me, really. I
Well,
don't know how.
that's why I asked the
Yeah.
question too. It just didn't make sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
Questions?
Got electronic papers, I got real papers, I got.
You got it all, and
You're
I,
not the only one. Yeah, we don't print out those 186 pages.
Just only about
Just,
150 of them.
yeah, I've got like 4. So I'm going to throw this out to my fellow commissioners up here. Much of the information that we received yesterday has to do with the contingencies and the conditions that were laid out, that Planning Commission had items 1 through 9, and now we're being told that much of the information we received very, very late in the day yesterday actually fulfills those. But I haven't had the opportunity or the time to sit down and really take a look at that. I also, before we grant any kind of an approval, I also would like the answer to why this center could not be open for public education as well. And to see if maybe, if that was your original intent, if there would be something that we could at least look at, because I believe that we need to understand that. So
If we don't have to lock it into that at this point, I certainly would,
Right.
and you want to do that, I would rather
Yeah.
us look at that, yeah.
Without taking another 180 days for you to do the application.
Yes. So I would maybe lean towards the side of tabling this actual decision until our next meeting, which would be at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, August 23rd. But gentlemen, I wait your wishes.
I would agree, Madam Chair, and give us the opportunity to finish looking at all this stuff and answer those questions, and then we can make our final determination. So I would move to table this until August 23rd at 9:30 a.m.
I will second that, and then I have a little discussion.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Let's have discussion.
I think that's a good idea. One, I would like to see you guys get more benefit from the locals, especially the neighbors who are excited about it, who can't partake unless they pay some money. So if we can find out that answer, not that it's going to come to that end, but at least give us a chance to do that. And also look over these other documents that you sent yesterday. I looked over them a little bit. I can't tell where the differences are.
There's not many, and that's what,
Yeah.
and it's,
Okay.
I know it's tough. Those plans are tough to read.
They are. They're hard to read.
Very hard to read.
So I think with that, I agree. I think this is the best decision to get the best thing for you guys for this huge project that you've got planned out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will say, I feel bad for not giving you an answer today. I'm sure that's probably what you were expecting coming forth. And I also really appreciate everyone who showed up to support you here, because it's clear that everyone in the room does support this. No one stood in opposition. We have not received an email or a comment opposed to this project. So just for all of those reasons, we still have a lot to digest here and some things to reconcile in my own mind. And so I think that's the best route to take. So, okay, it has been moved and seconded to table SRU 21-005, the Observer Ranch Campground. for a travel trailer campground and learning center located at 4509 County Road 123 until our next meeting, which is Tuesday, August 23rd at 9:30 a.m. Further discussion?
Oh, ma'am.
Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, 2 more weeks. Thank you all so much. All right, thanks for being here.
Yeah, guys.
We do have one more public hearing on our agenda today. This is for a revised accessory dwelling unit amendment, number 17, to the Fremont County Zoning Resolution, Section 9, ADU accessory dwelling unit. And we'll go ahead and open this public hearing and turn to, once again, to Micah Simpleman, our Director of Planning and Zoning. All right, Micah, we got through one.
Thank you, ma'am. So, as we were just talking about, we have a lot of regulations that do need to be looked at. And since I have taken over this job, I think the ADU regulation has been the one that's been, people have had a lot of issues with. So my staff actually took it upon themselves, and they came up with this new resolution for it. We just feel that this is going to make it a lot easier, a lot more understanding of the resolution. It was just complicated. A lot of why, why is it this way? Why is it, why do we have to do it this way? This just clears a lot of that, and also I think with the discussions we've had in the past about affordable housing, I think this is really going to help out our community with that.
All right, thank you for that, Micah. Gentlemen, would anyone like to go through the actual changes that we are making here?
Sure, if you'd like, you can.
I kind of think that we need to do that. I
I
know
think
we
we do
do have
too.
a document in front of
I think
us,
we do
but,
too.
okay, so if you would like for your chair to do that.
I've got them up, but.
All right, yeah. Okay, so the changes that we are looking at making, thank you so much, Micah. Revisions include a partial deletion on section 9.2, removing the ADU may also be located within the primary dwelling or attached to the primary dwelling. A deletion with new regulations on 9.3.3, a single-story ADU shall be no more than 14 feet in height to peak of roof. A two-story structure containing an ADU may be no more than 22 feet to peak of roof. ADUs may be allowed in two-story structures where the ADU is only on one level. The other level may not be used as part of the ADU. And removing those things and adding, ADUs shall follow all development requirements of the zone district. 9.3.4, partial deletion of one bathroom and 9.3.13, full deletion of an ADU constructed or located within a larger dwelling shall have exterior access. Section 9.3.15, partial deletion of business or commercial use of an ADU is prohibited. So those are basically the changes that we are looking at making today. I don't see a huge audience left, but I'm still going to ask as a public hearing, is there anyone here today who would like to step forward and speak about this change to our resolutions?
Should open the public hearing.
I did open the public hearing.
Did you?
I did, yes.
Good job.
Okay, seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing. And I will ask my fellow commissioners if you have comments, anything we haven't already discussed.
Oh, just,
Turn your mic on.
just to add, this is what Micah was talking about, just kind of getting this to where it's just more workable with our public as far as less stringent, less weighty on them to be able to take advantage of the ADU regulation without being hamstrung at every turn, trying to make use of it. And so this is a good move for us to make it easier for folks to take advantage of it.
I agree. I think the easier we can make it, the better off it is, to help hopefully more affordable housing. With that, Madam Chair, I have a motion.
Yes, please, I am prepared.
I move to approve resolution number 27, which is amendment 17 to the Fremont County Zoning Resolution, Section 9, accessory dwelling units, with the changes.
That's it.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve Resolution Number 27, revising Amendment 17 to the Fremont County zoning, well, this is Amendment 17 to the Fremont County zoning resolution, revising Section 9 ADUs, accessory dwelling units.
We
Further
need a
discussion?
resolution number.
Number
27.
27. Yes. Okay.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you. There being no further business to come before this board, we are adjourned.